There you go. Okay, so we continue in the sugya of a shliach doing what's proper. Right? Meaning, what happens if the shliach messes up? So we wanted to bring a raya from the almana when she sells the fields not for the proper price, so then that sale gets null and void. Right? And we had said, and also we learned out from that if the shliach also gets extra money, right? Like we said an example, you send a guy to the bagel store to buy you a dozen bagels, and then the owner of the bagel store gives him an extra bagel. So who does that bagel belong to? Does that bagel belong to the shliach? Does that bagel belong to the mishaleach, the one that sent him? So we said we paskin in that depending on how the items are sold. Right. So another one has a little bit of a different version of that. So V'ikadamri, we're about 10, 12 lines down, Tzadi Tesamar Aleph. So we said V'ikadamri, ha loiti ba'ila. This was not a question, meaning this is not a question. Which is not a question? Heichadamar le zil zavinli lischa, where he goes and he tells the shliach, sell me a lesech field, which is a half of a kur, the zavin le kura, and he sold him a kur. He sold more, right? Which was that was the Gemara Shaila yesterday. Again, he told him to sell, let's say, an acre, and he sold 2 acres. So there is no question. All he's doing is adding on to his words, and therefore it's considered a good sale, right? But the Shaila is the opposite. He said, go sell me a kur. And he went and he said, sold a half a kur, meaning he like using acreage, he said, sell me 2 acres, and instead he only sold him 1 acre. So what's the din there? Is that considered like the shliach was totally not listening to the guy who sent him, or not? It says, Mi amrinan alei, do we say that we said the tavalach avdilach, I did a good thing for you? Liach says, I did a good thing for you. Why? Because let's say you don't need the money. Why does anybody sell field or property? Because they need money, right? So he's saying to the owner, he said, you told me to sell a lesech, a kur, which is a lot. And I sold half like this. If you don't need the cash, so you get to keep your real estate. If you're not going to need money, if you're not going to be able to back out, meaning if you sold the whole property that you wanted to, and now you realize you only have to sell half, you're not going to be able to back out because you already sold it. So I did you a good thing by only selling half. By Dilma, we would say Amarle, or we could say that the balabas, the owner, told the shliach, the livshu shtari lavoy, I don't want people having all sorts of shtaras. Meaning, he says, now you sold, you're selling, you have to sell it to 2 different people, 2 lands to 2 different people. That means there's all these shtaras out there on me, like, look, he's selling land. Like, it's bad for his credit rating. That's the way I understood it. Right? When you apply for too many lines of credit, that knocks down your credit rating. Because the companies look and they think, well, why is this guy applying for so much credit? Must be there's something wrong. Right? So if people keep seeing shtaras in the streets or by the lawyers or whoever, that, hey, this guy's selling a lot of land, so that's no good for his credit. So therefore, he's not happy with the shliach. So Reb Chanina Misura said, Tashema, nasan le dinar shel zav, if he gave him a dinar of zav, v'amar Allah yahavi li chaluk, I tell him a dinar shel zav is made out of 6, how do you call it? 6 sellers. 6 sellers going to a dinar. So the boss gave him a dinar of gold. Go buy me a shirt. Go buy me a shirt for those 6, for the dinar of zav. And he went and he got it from b'shalosh chaluk or b'shalosh talis. What the shliach did is he got him a good deal on the shirt. So the shirt, instead of costing him 6, only cost him 3. And then he bought him a talis also. Right? So again, the guy sent him to buy him a talis for 6. He went to the shuk, and it ended up being that there was the talis. He sent him for a shirt, a chaluk. And he came back and he got the shirt for 3. and then he got a talis for 3. So Shneim, and then it came out that money, the dinar that he was given by the balabas, was really hektish. So who's over on miilah, right? We had a similar case yesterday where the guy was feeding people meat and he gave out extra pieces and the people took extra pieces and then it came out that meat was hektish. So the same case here, he found out that the money was hektish. Now the guy that's the owner of the money told him to spend it a specific way. He went and spent it a different way. So who was over on miilah? Both or one or the other. So Shnei Amal, Gemara says they both were over on miilah. So what are we trying to prove from this? If you say shliach ki hay gavna, if you're going to say that a shliach in this situation did his shlichus, and he just added on to his words, meaning he did the shlichus, he got the guy a shirt, right? And then he got him a talis also. Right? So that's what a balabayas is mal, meaning because we're saying that if the guy sells 2 fields instead of 1 field, so if we're going to say that that's okay, then it makes sense because he's doing it on behalf of the Baal. But if you say that when he doesn't listen and instead of selling 1 field, he sells 2 fields, and we say that means he did not listen to the balabas on my mol. So then why did the balabas? Why the owner be over on miilah? Again, we're saying that if the shliach, instead of selling 1 field, goes and sells half a field, which means he's going to have to sell another half. If we say that meant that he was not listening to his boss, so then which means that his boss is totally out of it because the guy didn't listen to him. So therefore, that will translate into the miilah also. So why should the boss be over on miilah? The boss told him, take this dinar of zav and buy a shirt with it for 6. Had he done that, the boss would have been over on miilah. He didn't do that. He took it and he bought 1 shirt for 3 and a talis for 3. So he didn't listen to his boss. So what the Gemara is saying is by the Gemara is saying that by this brisa, saying that both the shliach and the balabas were over on miilah must be that the guy is considered as if he did the shlichus. So we have a proof that the shlichus does work. So when it says no, the shliach brought him a shirt that was worth 6, but he got it as a deal, right? Meaning in the Havamina, we thought that he bought him a shirt that taka cost 3, meaning he wanted an expensive shirt. The shliach decided he's smarter. He's going to buy him a cheaper shirt and then buy him a talis also. That's not the case. The case is where he got a discount. He got a good deal. The guy's a hustler and he got a good deal. And instead of paying 6, he only paid 3. So therefore, with the extra money, he bought a talis, well, whatever it is. But he was Makayim what the balabas wanted from him. So since he was Makayim what the balabas wanted from him, so therefore the balabas is also going to be over on miilah. Gemara says, if the shliach did the shlichus for the balabais, so why was he over on miilah? So we say a talis. That's pretty poshut. He's over on miilah on the talis. Who told him to go spend this money on a talis? When he spent this money on the talis, although he didn't know that it was hektish, which is why he was over on miilah.
Is the shliach over? Why is the shliach over on miilah? And shliach l'dvar?
No, but he wasn't sent on the shlichus.
He wasn't sent on the shlichus.
He wasn't sent on the shlichus to buy a talis. And a chanami, he's not over on miilah for the choluk because that he was sent to do as a shliach. He was sent as a shliach to buy the shirt. He went and bought a talis on his own. Right?
So the miilah is on the talis or on the shirt and the talis?
The miilah for the boss is on the shirt.
No, on the shliach.
The shliach is for the talis. That's it, just for the talis. That's the way I understand it.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. So Ihachi, the Gemara says, Aim a sefer. That's the case. What about the sefer? R Yehuda, balabayas lemol. Even this, the balabayas wasn't mile. Why? Because he could say, I wanted you to buy, yes, you got a good deal. Instead of paying 6 gold, you paid 3. But I wanted you to buy a bigger one. But you brought me a small a small chaluk and a bad one, right? So therefore, you were not doing what I listened to. Therefore, I should not be over miilah. Again, this is the balabayas, the owner, saying this. So the Gemara answers, my ra. What does it mean by ra? Ra bedomim means it was a bad price. The Amar lehi isasli b'shis. If you would have bought me a shirt that cost 6, kol shekain davashava tarti 3. Right? It really would have gone up. The price of that shirt would have gone up to 12. Right? Meaning the way Rashi explains this is when you buy in bulk, you get it for cheaper. So had I bought a bigger shirt, if he had the shliach bought the bigger shirt, then he would have gotten a 6 seller one, would have gotten him more shirt. He would have gotten more shirt for his buck. Right? So therefore, meaning he's saying you're getting a deal anyways, but had you stuck with spending the regular 6 that I told you, you would have ended up with a shirt that really was worth 12. Meaning it seems like this shliach got everything on a 50% discount. So the owner's saying him, so why did you cheap out on me and get a 6 for 3? You should have gotten a 6. You should have gotten a 12 seller one for 6.
What do you mean? The owner was expecting a 6.
Right, but he said you should have spent the 6 anyways and got a 12.
What? Why didn't you spend my money in full? I mean, since when?
Listen, you could see this fight happening a lot. I send you to the store to buy me something, right? And I say, get me the middle price one for this and this price, right? Then he goes. I
told you to get me a Toyota Camry for 12 grand, 15 grand, or maybe now more, 15 grand. A regular with 40,000 miles. It's a used one. It's right. Then you come in, and I got a deal for $9,000 for a 40. No, why did you buy me a 2021?
Correct, exactly. You make the guy you shliach to buy you a used car, and he says you told me to buy a 2021 for 15 grand. So the guy comes back and says, hey, I got you 2021 for 6 grand, right? Or 7.5 grand. We're doing half. Right? You go back to the guy and say, hey, no, if that was the sale, say you should have got me a 2022 for 15 grand. I would have been much happier. Meaning he's saying, the owner's saying, I wanted to spend 15 grand. I'm willing to take a shirt for whatever price or a car for whatever price. Fine. But I'm willing to spend the 15 grand. I would have taken a nicer car.
Most people
would have said, to not spend my 15 grand.
Most people would have said up to 15 grand, not spend the money. Most people don't want you to spend the money, no? I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe.
No, that's what the boss is saying. No, you would have got me a much better deal. I would have made a lot more money. I tell you like this. I tell you where it works. In Yonah the Yom Mamish, your shver is not on, but your shver would understand it. You have people that resell tickets and all that. A lot of Yidden are doing this.
Okay.
Right? So you give a guy, a ticket broker, a certain amount of money, buy you tickets, and it goes, right? You'd think that you buy the cheapest tickets and that's the biggest markup. A lot of times it's not. A lot of times you buy the more expensive ticket and the markup is much higher because people want to sit closer. People want to sit closer. So even though you're being cheap on the initial purchase, right, you end up losing later on.
You could make more money if you deal in the
correct. So that's the way I understand the Gemara. Could be I'm wrong, but that's my motto for Keshubos. Could be I'm wrong, but that's what I think is the pshat. So anyway, so therefore, so that's what he tells us. So the economy, this makes sense. The katani on the bottom line now. Maida Rabbi Yehuda by kitnius. Rabbi Yehuda's maida by kitnius. Right? Rabbi Yehuda again is the one who says the balabas should not be happy with this guy getting him the shirt at half price because he would have rather him spend the same money and get a better shirt. Right? But Rabbi Yehuda's maida by beans. Shashnei and Malu, that both of them are going to be over on miilah. Why? On Talmud base. Shakitnius besela. Because kitnius is you buy it for a seller. Right? And then the kitnius bepruta. And then you have kitnius for a pruta, right? Meaning that's a pruta is how many prutas in a seller? How does it go again? How many prutas in a seller? I don't know. But either way, it works. It works in ratio. You get if you have kidneys for a seller, then they're not giving it to you. Meaning what used to be called a baker's dozen, right? You get a dozen, you get an extra one, right? So you'd think that as the more you order, the what do you call it? The more you order, the cheaper it becomes ratio-wise. We're saying by kidneys does not work like that. It works mamish in ratio. You buy kidneys for a seller and kidneys for a pruta. So shmamina that so we hear from this, right? That hechi dami, what's the case? Right? If it's a case in a city where they sell the kidney as beshuma, with as shuma means they evaluate it, right? And moizli gabei tfei, and where he gives a seller, which is a lot more money, they're going to make it cheaper for him, right? So Amara Papa, Vasur the Kailik. So it can't be that. So it must be talking about. It can't be a place that they just they estimate and evaluate. It has to be talking about a set price place. Amara Papa, Rapapa, Vasur the Kailik Bakani. We're talking about in a town where they do it in the kana measurements, right? The Amar Le kana bepruta. They say you get a kana for a pruta. Yeah. So which means that in the case of kidneys, if the shliach did not spend all the money, let's say the guy gave him 10 seller to buy kidneys for him, and he only buys 5 seller worth. He didn't cost the guy anything because everything was in a perfect ratio to each other. He just bought him less, right? Not the prices were not moving up as like we're saying with the tickets, right? As you pay more for the tickets, in ratio you can make more profit, right? So we're saying by the shirt that was also the case, but by kidneys that is not the case. The more you buy is not going to get you. It's not going to get you any more money, and that's why Rabbi Yehuda's miilah that the shliach still did a partial shlichus, and therefore the shliach is going to be over on miilah, and so will the balabas. So Tashema. Now we're going to bring a raya again from our mishna with the woman with the almana. If her ksuba was 400 zuz, and she sold this one amana, and she sold this one amana, right? We said she had a ksuba 400 zuz because she was a baskayin. Baskayin got double ksubas, right? So she was entitled to 400 zuz. So what she did is she sold 3 fields at 100. Ula achron. And in the last field, Yafa Mana Vidina B'Mana, and she sold the last field for 100 zuz plus an extra dina. And we said Shal Achran Batal, the last field is Batal because she sold too much. Shal Kulan Mechran Kayim, and all of them the Mechir is Kayim. So what do you see? She, like we said yesterday, she is the Almana is the Shliach of the Yarshim, right? The Yarshim, really the money belongs to them. The Yarshim have to pay the Almana. So she goes and sells the field so that she can get paid. So she's essentially the shliach. So essentially what they told her to do is sell a field for your 400 zuz, and that's it, and you'll have your money. But what she did is she sold 4 different fields. So you see, and we see that the first 3 fields it counts. So since it counts, it must be that's a shliach not listening to the Baal and selling less than he was supposed to does work. So that's what the Gemara wants to prove it. And the Gemara says, no, it's not a proof. We're talking about small little fields. We're only talking about where she had a big building and she sold the building to 4 different people. No. We're talking about where the guy had small little fields here and there. Each one was worth 100. So there was no way she could have possibly sold all of them together. It was meant to be sold individually. So therefore, that's why it worked. But if theoretically she would take a big building and sell it piecemeal, sell it in different stages, then that wouldn't work. So Chanami Biktini. So to here we're talking about we're talking about small amounts of lands, and therefore that's why she was allowed to. Fine. So that's a different version of our Gemara, but the Gemara Maisa comes out that it seems like it comes out. Well, the truth is the Gemara is not really coming out either way here, but that's the Gemara Shaila. If the shliach sells less than he was supposed to, Fine. Now the Gemara goes on to a different shayla. Pshita, Amar le'echad v'loy l'shnayim. Let's say the boss says sell the field to one person and not to two. He specifically says, here's the field, you're the agent, sell it to one person, do not split it. So he said specifically, sell it to one and not to two. If he goes and sells it to two, it's no good. But what happens if he what happens if he just said, sell the building to one person, and he didn't say not to sell it to a second person? So it's a Machlokes. He meant to sell it to one and not to two. And when he said sell it to one, he didn't mean one and not two. He meant one and even to two is also okay. As Rashi says, what's a pshat? Because it's not the derech for people to be makbid on these type of things. Right? Even though we said on the previous Amud that sometimes an owner can be not so happy if there's tons of shtaras going out on his field. So I don't know exactly how that fits in with this. Okay, and then he said, again, I stopped mid-sentence. So again, Rav Chisda, Rav Huna, sell it to one and even to two, and one and even to 100. Fine. So Ikur Rav Nachman Surah. Rav Nachman traveled to Surah. Ola Gabei Rav Chisda Rav Huna. Rav Chisda and Rav Huna went to him. What's the story in this case? Where the boss said, sell the field to one person and that's it. So what's the din? He said, when he says give it to one, he says give it even to two and even to 100. So are you going to say that the shliach has such power that even if he makes a mistake in the sale, right, and he sold it for too cheap, that's also going to be okay? I didn't say that. I didn't say he's talking about a case where the shliach makes a mistake. I just said that if he asked the shliach to sell it to one, then that means he could sell to as many people as he wants, but but doesn't entitle him to make a mistake. So Amrullah said to him, didn't Mar say that there's no such thing as ripping somebody off by karka? Right? We know that oina means if you charge somebody too much money. There's no oina in real estate. Real estate, because that's the way real estate works. If somebody decides he wants to pay a lot more than the going price, he's allowed to. Right? So
you charge more on rent?
Rent as opposed to sale? I'm not sure. I don't remember.
I know. I'm right.
Right. So, but anyways, he said so. Either way, the shliach. What do you say?
No, in Eretz Yisrael, they were saying the apartments are sugar priced, and the Rabbanim came out. I mean, I don't know. You know, they came out. The price in the neighborhoods where the young couples are, the price was out of control. $500, $600, $700 more. So he brought up by now.
I don't know, but if that's the going rate, and that's the going rate.
No, the going rate was $1,700, let's say $100 for a two bedroom. And all of a sudden it went up to $2,400 because I'm sorry. Okay, I didn't mean to go off tangent. I apologize.
No, but that's I don't know, but either way, so he's saying, how can you say that the shliach messed up, right? There's no such thing. There's no ainah. Both ways, there's no ainah. If you pay less or if you pay more, there's no ainah. So what his answer is, hani miilah the ta bal habayis. That's where the bal habayis makes a mistake. Avatah shliach, but if the shliach makes a mistake, Amar Leis, he says to him, "L'tkune shadartich v'loy la'avsi." I sent you to be masakin things to me, not to mess me up, right? So since you sold the field for way cheaper than the going rate, so then therefore it's not my problem, and you have to get back the field for me, right? So again, we're only saying that there's no ripping off by karka if the actual owner sold it, but if his shliach sold it, the agent sold it, then it's not.
This shliach shliach going back and forth. Is this a paid shliach or someone doing a favor?
Either one.
You doing a favor? You have all this responsibility.
Yeah,
you misunderstood.
Yeah.
It's not doing favors.
I think so. It's not like a shomer chinam. It's not like a shomer chinam. I think. But anyways, I didn't see anybody that differentiates. Okay, so the Gemara says, and we're not talking about the shana being shliach l'balabayis. And where do we know that we say that a shliach is different than the balabayis? The Tanan, ha'omer l'shlucha tzei v'troim. You say to a shliach, go and separate truma for me. Tarim kedas balabayis. He has to give truma kedas balabayis. Oh, so before we go weiter, truma is given either in 1/40th, 1/50th, or 1/60th. If the guy is cheap, then he gives 1/60th of his fruits. If he's a middle guy, he gives a 50th, and if he's a generous guy, then he gives a 40th. So this guy tells him, go to the farm and take truma for me. So he has no idea how much the owner wants to give. So he he does it with what he thinks. Let's say he doesn't know. Let's say he doesn't know. So then he goes with the average guy, which is 1/50th. But let's say he messed up in his estimation of the fellow, and he either added a 10th or subtracted a 10th. Then his truma is considered a truma. Now he's a shliach, and he didn't do what the balabas wanted him to do. Yeah, and we said the truma is truma. Vilu gavi balabayas tanya, but by the balabayas it says taram va'alabayah. Let's say the balabayas is taking off the truma itself. So he says, I'm going to stick my hand into this basket, and I'm going to take out some vegetables or fruits, and that's going to become the truma. Right? So he did it, but va'alabayah afilu echan me esrim, and for whatever reason he took out 1/20th. Right? He took out 5% truma. So truma, his truma is truma. Right? So you see, so that even by the owner, it's considered the batch, he made a mistake, it's still considered like something, right? Right, so what's the Gemara's kasha from this? I'm saying because here Lamaisa was saying that the evidence that the shliach's truma works. Oh, that's what it was. Right. I'm sorry. Sounds like let's say the shliach decided to take 1/20th of 5%. Right. Meaning the maximum leeway we give to the shliach is we say if you're not sure what the balabas wants you to take off 1/50th. But if he took off a 40th or a 60th, that's fine. Right. Mashma, let it say he took off more or less. That's not going to be good. Right? And the balabayas, if he takes off way more or way less, it is going to be good. So you see that the balabayas is whatever the balabayas does is going to be a problem, right? And whatever he does is going to be fine. So now that's how the Gemara shows that the balabayas is different than the shliach. The shliach does not get as much leeway if he messes up in his sale. Fine, it's in a Tashma. If his ksuba was 400, her ksuba, was 400 zuz. Right? She sold the first 3 fields for 100, and then she sold the last one for a mana and a dinar, extra. The last one's batal, and for the rest, the mechira is kayim. Right, so like we said before, she's considered a shliach, and we say that the first 3 works, right? And so therefore, her selling so many fields like that is not going to be a problem. So one answers, Amar Rav Shisha B'Reid Rav Idi B'Ktini. We're talking about, again, like we said before, we're talking about small fields, so that's why it works. She did small fields, but if she would have done a big field and she would split it up like that, it would not work. Right? Should we continue or nah? Okay, we can stop here.
Yeah.
We could stop here.
What time tomorrow?
Yeah, we gotta make up again. It's not such hard Gemara, so we should be able to. Tomorrow, what time? Candlelighting lift bench is 6 o'clock, right? So 5. Let's do 5.
5:15, 5:20.
5:20. Let's go at 5:15. We gotta do 5:15. Motzei Shabbos. Okay, I'm going to Lakewood. Bez Hashem. So Shiloh, do I do it in the car or do I do it first?
8:00. No.
Debbie, that works for you, 8 o'clock?
I'm asking him.
Oh, okay.
8 o'clock.
I'm asking.
Shabbos is over about 7:30. Yeah,
No.
8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, yeah. 8
No,
o'clock
I'm saying that means you're leaving the family.
No, I'm gonna do it in the car. That's all. I'll do it in the car. And then
Whatever.
Erev Yom Tov Mistam again, we're doing in the morning.
Okay.
That would be good.
But it's a Shana Rabbah, so davening is longer for those.
Oh, 6:30.
So let's do Daf at 9 after davening.
Yeah, 6:30. It's 2 hours.
Yeah.
Hey, what do we say about the Shabbos?
8 o'clock. 8 o'clock Matzah Shabbos.
Shkoyach.
All right.
You sure it's good? You sure it's good, Aaron?
I don't know. I'm
Debbie, I'm gonna ask you, does 8 o'clock work for you, Debbie? Can you be home?
Aaron, I'm asking you.
I want to make sure it works for you.
Listen, you're the gabbai. You have to approve everything, right?
I'm waiting for Yaakov to tell me what works for him.
I'm asking him.
Yeah, 8 o'clock should be fine.
You're the best, Debbie.
Gershon, what type of tzchak you got?
Bamboo. What do you mean?
That looks like plywood up there, Gershon.
What?
Looks
I
like
think,
plywood.
I think he has the camera upside down. That's really his floor.
What is that, Taka?
They messed up on the beams. That's all. They put them all over the place.
Gershon,
No, but what's on top of the beams?
A mat.
It's a mat. I hear.
So Yaakov, do we have the Gemara ever that when you're passing a restaurant or not cooking kosher food, you're not supposed to swallow the saliva that comes from it? I made that up.
Yes, we had a Gemara with that. We had a Gemara like that.
So if I'm in a building, right, and it smells like people are cooking food all day, I have to keep on spitting it out?
If you like the smell.
No,
Only if you like
disgusting.
the smell. Oh, so if it's disgusting, you don't have a problem.
And if I like the smell, I could just continue.
It says you're supposed to spit it out. Whether anybody does this nowadays, I don't know.
So the Gemara said only if it makes you salivate.
No. Oh, only, yeah, some said that, right?
If it
There was
makes you
people that said
salivate.
that. Yeah.
What
Not
does
stop any
salivate mean?
saliva that's in your mouth.
That the saliva makes you, when you get hungry, you start getting saliva in your mouth.
Right. If it smells so good that it makes you, yeah. It's Yaakov.
Yes, sir.
I found this last line of Gemara, the lush and fascinating.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good night,
You see
everyone.
how Maya,
Go ahead.
you see how careful the Gemara is with its lush. It's the same exact question and the same exact answer. The last line of the Gemara is the original. So the one we had before, it says, Kida Amar Rav Shishu Rei Davidi, Hachanami Biktini. It's the same exact question and the same exact answer. Slight different context.
But isn't that what he was quoting?
The bottom line is what he was quoting. But what's the question? What's the answer? The same thing. Tashma Haisik Subasa, Tashma Haisik Subasa.
Yeah, so that was, but I didn't bother me today, but when I was learning it now with the Oilo, I was saying 1 second. So yeah, so what is the difference?
The context is different. It's a different set of Talmidim asking the question. So they said, this question was asked already. So we're quoting Rav Shishu Rei Davidi from there with the same exact place. But you still need to quote, even though it's the same question, the same answer. Still a need to quote. It's not just that's his answer.
Yeah, but it's the same thing. It's the same Shaklavatariya.
But it's a different Shylix is going on a different Amayra or whatever.
Yeah, but what was the point of the Gemara saying it?
Same exact point.
So I'm saying.
He didn't answer that specific question on that specific Amayra. He answered the same question on a different Amayra. Even so, you still have to cite. You still have to say Kidda Amar Shishuredi.
I hear. I'm not sure I understand that, but all right.
I'm not sure I understand it either, but that's what it seems from the Gemara.
I hear.
Reb Tziyakov, the selling ticket analogy is Mamish and Yana Diama. The Yankee game got rained out. I got stuck with tickets for a 1 p.m. game tomorrow, Erev Shabbos.
Oh,
like the rest of the Jewish world.
I mean, you were supposed to go tonight, Cholamoya trip.
Yeah.
Now you're stuck tomorrow. So why can't you make it?
I'm going to Waterbury. I'm going to my brother in Waterbury tomorrow. So
Waterbury's not so far from Yankee Stadium.
On a Friday afternoon, it's fair. A
You
1
can catch
p.m.
a couple
game.
of things.
I know. It's a little stress. I have a very unhappy
You go to the
wife.
first 3 innings until you know the Yankees are losing, and then you leave.
Right. Yeah. The whole Jewish world's trying to sell their tickets tonight, I think.
Is that what's going on?
Yeah.
Sheesh, I feel bad.
Because you can't. They don't refund it. It's a playoff game, so that's it.
Are the tickets going for cheap because of this? Probably, right?
There's a lot of tickets. I don't know. I've been busy with it. We'll see.
All right. Yeah. Are they selling for less than face?